Kevin, just finally, we started off this interview talking about inflation and the government's role with its expenditure. What role does net zero policies have on inflation? This is the big thing, which is eating a hole in all of our pockets, and yet it's another government-caused problem, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the most visible impact is an increase in energy prices. So you would remember, Lyle, when the Albanese government, or when the Labor Party at the time, before the election, promised a $275 reduction in power prices. And what eventuated is power prices escalating and spiraling out of control. But secondly, what inflation is, essentially, is too much money chasing the same amount of goods and services, or too few goods and services. And so on the one hand, we've seen so much money being poured into this dash for a transition to renewables, this dash for net zero, including the $20 billion worth of cash injection into green hydrogen announced in the budget. So it's a lot of money, a lot of cash being poured into this transition, into this net zero pipe dream. But on the other side, what are we actually getting out of it, right? Are we going to produce more food as a result of a greater degree of reliance on wind and solar? Well, no. Are we going to make work more efficient as a result of a greater degree of reliance on wind and solar? Well, no. Are we going to produce more steel and more iron as a result of a greater reliance on wind and solar? Well, no. So we've got an equation whereby productivity doesn't change, and the best that they can hope for is for the electricity grid to remain as stable and affordable as it was before this mad dash. But a lot of cash has already been poured into the economy in order for the grid to transition. And so this is a classic textbook case of too much money chasing the same amount of goods or fewer goods and services.
Well, Kevin, it sounds like a perfect storm, all created by really poorly thought out government policy, but it's hurting the people in the suburbs. Kevin, thank you so much for coming on today to explain that, and I'd commend people to go to the IPA website and read your material. Thanks so much, Kevin.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.